Well, here she is. My beloved 1997 Barracuda Cuda COMP mountain bike. I may be sentimental, as I still have my Schwinn Deluxe Varsity 10-speed that I got at age 13. But as my first real mountain bike, this is more than just a bike. Just like your best friend since the age of 5 is not just a pet, this simple machine is not something I could ever sell. And like in Toy Story, I imagine she still longs for rides with her boy, having been replaced by newer, fancier toys. So, this is as much an act of love as it is a build. I had planned to go through a long list of all the part specs with numbers and angles, but I'll just put those in the description. Instead, soak in this beautiful old dog and remember, all she wants is a quick game of fetch and a scratch behind the ear. All right, so let's take a look at what's going to happen. I'm going to obviously have to change out the chain ring. I was hoping to get lucky enough, like a lot of people, where you can just remove the inner and outer chain rings and keep the middle one. But unfortunately, the middle and the inner mount to the 42 tooth, and so that's just not going to work. So I'm going to replace the crank arms and the chain ring. I'm going to remove the front derailleur. Because of that, I'm going to have to remove and swap out both the brakes on both sides, because this is an integrated brake and shifter, and I don't want to have that ugly shifter hanging there with no cable, so we'll replace that. I'm going to remove the rear shifter. Obviously, I'm going to change out the rear cog, replace that with a 16-tooth single-speed gear. The brakes aren't great, but I'm going to keep them. I'm going to change out, though, the cable housings and the inner cable. The tires are old and the rubber is hard as a rock, but I'm going to keep them on until I figure out if this thing's even going to work. So let's go ahead and start pulling parts off and take a look. If you have a square taper bottom bracket, you'll need one of these tools. Thread it in hand tight, then back it off one turn. Then turn the center in to press the crank off the bottom bracket. Well, there it is. Man, it looks nice and clean. The last thing I got to take off is the cog in the back wheel. Now it's time to do that. So luckily, the free hub on this XTR hub is in great shape. It's got zero play. Bearings seem to be good, so I should be good to go. So what I decided to go with was a a single speed conversion kit, which I'll leave a link in the description. And it's got a new lock ring, a 16 tooth cog, and a bunch of spacers that you can use to adjust the alignment with the cog to the chainring. And I noticed that on the original bike, when it was in the middle chainring, which was I think about where the new one's gonna be, it was perfectly lined up on the third from the smallest cog. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set it up initially with kind of a wild guess of kind of where it is. And then once we get it on the bike with the new chainring and cranks installed, we'll go ahead and fine tune it if I need to move it either closer to the hub or out to the outside. So let's go ahead and put them on. There it is, looking very sweet. All right, so it's on, and I'm checking the alignment. I've got this piece of aluminum left over from a shower project. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line it up on the back side of the chain ring and see where it lines up on the back. And it looks like, okay, I guessed wrong. I need to move it in toward the hub about 3 of the, I think those are probably 2mm spacers. So I'm gonna move it in just a little bit and then we'll try it again. So if you notice, the shims that they give you some 10s, 3s, and a 5. And I initially had a 10, a 5, and a 3 on the back side, which made it 2mm too far to the outside. So I just moved the 5mm from this side and put it here. And now it is perfect. That is money. That is absolutely perfect. Well, unfortunately, the chain is about a half a link too short to go direct. So I'm gonna have to go back, at least for now, with the derailleur. I've got a chain tensioner coming tomorrow. I'll try to swap that out. This is what we'll do for right now. Now, in order to do this, I kept the housing that went from the derailleur to this first stop, and I also took the original shifter cable and I cut it down. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this in place. We'll pull it, and that will tension the derailleur to get it to line up with the cog so that it'll end up just operating as a chain tensioner that way. Well, until my chain tensioner comes in, I'm just going to take 3 links out of the old chain, hook it back up so I can go ahead and move on. That looks pretty good. I know that if there was an alignment issue, it would come off backpedaling. So hopefully the chain tensioner will replace this. If not, I'll just put it on because this has no clutch and it makes a lot of rattling. So far so good. here's the tensioner. Unfortunately, it doesn't replace my makeshift fix, but it does quiet the chain slap, and it was only $10. This was a fun project. I know that if my bike had a tail, she'd be wagging it right now. I love comments and questions, and if you found this to be helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're like me and just refuse to act your age, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.